Well, I just opened the thing and it was like join. Like what? Why yes. Thank you.
Well, it's for some reason it's linked to my phone, and so if I like close it out on my phone, it automatically just like close out whatever.
Oh.
And so I like you can sit there and it calls on my phone, but I can't respond to that, or else it'll close out on my computer for some reason.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and so I have to be like, I had to listen to it vibrate like crazy, and I'm like, I can't. My computer's trying to load. I can't do anything about it. I'm sorry.
No, I understand that. Don't worry. I got you.
Yeah. No. Well, it said start call, and then it was like, we've made group calling a little less intrusive by introducing a new feature, ringless calling. Your members of the group will get a notification that a call is available for them to join. And I was like, oh, okay, sweet. Why not? Click.
That's interesting. Having a phone call where the other person doesn't get like a sound trigger saying, "Hey, someone's calling you." It's
like a
bit interesting, but yeah. I mean, I see what they're going for, but
I know,
you know, I wasn't even on yet. I like literally opened the thing and it was like join. Like,
oh, sure. Okay, that's a bit much.
So whatever, it's all good.
It is. Ta-da! Goodness. Well, Aaron, glad you made it back, all safe and sound. How's everything been?
So I have to go back down Monday morning. So I'm gonna leave here about like 5:30, and because I have to go to Norman, which the office is at. So
it's even further south,
right?
Right.
So no. It's not bad. It's just a lot of there's meetings, there's like partial training where it's like these are new techniques to be able to interview people. But the problem is that the group that I'm in, there's a few people with experience, i.e. me. And then the rest are like new, like right off the car lot, brand spanking new, like people into the adult world. Like they just got out of college. This is like their first grown up job. And so they're very, wide eyed and everything. And so you have to listen to, I don't say like us who have to sit there and listen to them. It's like, oh, we've never actually talked to real people before. Like we're just out of college. And we're like, oh, well, this will be fun. But yeah, it's nice. You go to
this
there.
Is why I talk to 11-year-olds for a living. It's easy.
You don't have to actually talking to real people.
I was doing that.
Yeah, it's very. I'm afraid of adult people. I don't want to talk to them.
Yeah, I just don't like people in general. So I was sitting there, and
that makes your line of work a little hard.
They did the classic, like, oh well, go around the room and tell us who you are. And I'm like, fine.
Did you come up with an exciting story? Like,
no.
My name. Oh.
I was like, and
like, come up like just start quoting a movie character's bio until somebody notices.
That's right.
That'd be fun.
So that'd
be a fun game.
My awesome sarcasm doesn't like some people don't get it, and
I have the same problem. It's
like,
okay.
Which all the time. And so like they did the classic like, oh go around the room and tell us who you are, and the people, and like I sit in a group with people who've been in like law enforcement for like 6 years, or people who are former teachers, and then the other side of the group there was like people who just got out of college, and they're going around and like, oh, so what made you want to do this, or like what kind of made you want to be an investigator? And people are like, well, I just really I'm inspired to help people and all this stuff and blah 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 blah. And of course I'm trying not to like throw up in my mouth, but when it got to me, I was like, well, when I was younger, I watched the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Perfect. And I thought my investigatory skills would be perfect from what I learned from that movie. And no one on the other side of the room got what I did, but everyone on my side lost their marbles because they're like, that's the biggest thing I've ever heard. And I was like, right?
Yeah. I'm proud of you right now. I'm just glowing with pride because it's a genius answer. I love it.
It is.
So they pulled up a movie, like a little clip, and it's about like how to be kind to people, and it's that YouTube video of if there's like a blind person, and he has this sign. It's like, I'm blind, please help me. And people are throwing down like a few change, and this lady comes by, and changes his sign, like changes the wordings of his sign to people start throwing down more money. And then she comes back and he's like, what did you change my sign? She's like, I didn't change anything. I only changed the words. And then the instructor is like, well, how did you feel about that? And then some of the other people are like, well, or like the, new people were like, well, I don't think it was very nice of her to grab his sign and everything. And I was like, well, to be honest, he couldn't really see what she was doing. And again, my half of the room laughed. Everyone else did not laugh. I'm like, ugh. It's going to be a long 6 weeks.
See, you can tell that I am now old because when you said, how do you be kind, I immediately thought you rewind, obviously. Right? Like, you got to rewind before you take it back. That's what rewind. That's the key.
It's kind of hard to apply that general theme to everything else in life, but it's a starting point.
I think maybe. Hold on, blossoming a theory as we speak here. Do you think that lack of analog interaction has made us less kind to each other? So because you used to have to do things like that for other people, just in general, and now you don't.
Well, think, like payphones, you would have to give up your time because someone was waiting in line, so you couldn't just always be there. There was a lot of, when you're in the analog world, there's a lot more social and societal cues that are on you and that you're dealing with. So
exactly.
I think that's maybe worth some more exploring there.
Yeah. I'm on something. I'm gonna write that down. Where's that? That notepad go? There it is.
But yeah, just in general, it's going. It's not overly thrilling because I've already been out investigating and talking to people, and so they're all like, well, you have to be. Oh, what did this lady say? Like, she gave us like a whole spiel of like what we're supposed to say, and I'm like, have you? Or they were talking about like police response, in case of emergency, and they're like, the average time of a police response is 3 to 5 minutes. And I'm like, I work in a county, and when I called the police, like they didn't show up till like 45 minutes later, and. Yeah, that was like, everyone just kind of looked at me and I was like, no, have you been to where I work? It is massive. And all these little towns
in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of these like new people work. They work in like places with large cities, either Norman or Oklahoma City or Edmond.
Okay.
And then there's, that makes sense. I don't know. I blame stereotyping because the people that hired me took one look at me and they're like, we're going to put him in the county. And then I showed up to like my first day wearing a camouflage hat, and I was like, "Well, that makes sense."
But not helping your case, but
I know. And
you can use all your hog schema though. This is good. See, you've been trained. For this.
I did talk to a gentleman, and he was like all apologetic because he's like, "Oh man, I just mowed my lawn," and for some reason I started talking to him about. Some of the things that Dad made us do to mow our yard.
See, that's good. That's building relationships. That's perfect. See, look at you.
So
I've been the class. Move over, teacher.
I've been able to do that. Show you. Because again, like I work with a lot of country people, and so we talked about he sounded just like Dad the way he was complaining about mowing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like talking to my father. And I'm like, oh, well, sir. And I've noticed whenever I talk to people like that, my accent comes out like terribly. And I was with the person that was shadowing me, and then they're like, "Do you always talk like that?" I'm like, "I beg your pardon. What do you mean?" And they're like,
I sure don't. What do you mean?
and she's like, you use words I've never heard you use before. And I'm like, oh, sorry, it's my accent comes out. I'm sorry for. I'm so embarrassed. Oh shucks. And yeah, that was. I noticed that a few times. I'm like, did I really say that? Oh my gosh. Jeez Louise.
All of a sudden you start dropping fur piece and holler and like
I might have said that.
They don't have. It's flat there. They don't have hollers.
Sorry, you don't have.
I cannot confirm and or deny any
the existence of a holler in any furb distance to for and or from
my current destination.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a 3-hour drive, and I hate every second of it. But then they're like, "Hey, do you want a state car?" And I'm like, "Oh, yes, please." So now it's less miserable because the roads. Big surprise! The roads in Oklahoma are so bad that that
you have to pay to drive on them.
How bad are they?
The rear passenger window became so rattled that it came off its tracks, and so now it's just like I have to hold it up and then go get tracks replaced. Yeah, like the roads from Tonkawa to Oklahoma City, they're just like, well, we don't really use asphalt. Let's put some gravel here occasionally, and then surprise, surprise, bigger potholes ensued, and I hit every single one of them. And I got down there, and I'm like, it's really loud, and I turn around, and my window is like halfway down, and I'm like, oh no! And of course, that was a fun talk to Dad. I'm like, Dad, I broke the thing. I'm sorry.
Jeez.
But yeah, so that's been my week, and so I'll leave here Monday and do the same thing.
You gotta get some audiobooks or something going on, because that's a lot of driving.
Yeah.
No.
I have found every single possible radio station within that area, but the problem is that the area is so big that once I find a radio station, it immediately is lost again. So
goes away. Yeah.
Well, that just means you haven't searched through all the AM radio stations. That's the game for Monday, right? What AM radio channel will you turn into where they're just talking about washer dryer repair forever? I did that one time here in Missouri. I was just
Seriously?
like, hey, yeah. I was like, I wonder. I'm just gonna flip through AM radio. I think I was commandeering the radio from Susan to be a smart aleck. That might have been what happened. But
might have, maybe.
I just found it, and it was just these two guys talking about dryer repair on AM radio. I was like, what is this? Where did this come from?
The magic of AM.
Yeah, it is magical, and I can only imagine that Oklahoma AM radio is gold. That's great.
I don't want to find out this experiment, but I am now kind of curious, but I'm also terrified.
Try it out. I mean, you can always change it back. It's fine. But like, just run through the dial a little bit and see what kind of interesting things show up, because I bet you'll be like, what? You will come across something and just be utterly confused about what you're listening to.
So I did, what was it, last Thursday when I had to go down for like the pre-stuff. I was so bored, and like it was weird. No one else was on the highway. It was just me, and I was so bored that I found I would say like local NPR station, but I guess you call it local. And I called in. Like I can't remember what I think they were talking about, like education in Oklahoma, and I was like, and I just was like, I'm so bored right now. I'll call in, and yeah, it was. I talked for like 15 minutes, and I was like, "Is there a commercial break coming up?" No. Oh, okay.
Keep going. They'll tell you when you're done. It's fine.
Yeah, they're good. They're generally good about that.
Yeah, it was
your podcasting experience coming in handy. Look at that. Got it.
Yeah, it was.
Stretch it out.
Fill the void. But yeah, it was interesting. And then I got closer to Oklahoma City, and I found all the good stations. I was like, oh, thank goodness. But yeah, that's in my adventuring for the last 2 weeks.
Man,
which will continue for the next 4 or 5 weeks or whatever.
Now with AM radio, though. So
yeah, just insane. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So what's been new on y'all's end?
Brandon designed a brand new game that's going to sweep the nation, apparently. So.
Oh yeah. I came up with a carnival game in less than 10 hours. And,
really?
Yeah, it's great. My friend came in and she was like, "Hey, I think we need a game too." It's like, because the 5th and 6th grade kind of are in the same area, right?
Yeah.
And so the 6th grade does hot dog sales, and then they kind of do the carriage ride. So a lady brings in some horses, and they go carriage outside, like around the school, not inside. That would be way more exciting.
I was gonna say, like, I'm slightly upset that it's not inside, but continue.
Yeah, they go outside. They go the carriage ride around, and then the 5th grade was selling nachos, and then they had a photo booth thing going on, right? And so we were sitting there, and we're like, "Yeah, but there's no game." And I didn't have anything to do because the two people were like, one of my 6th grade people, my coworkers, was doing the hot dogs with one of her friends.
Yeah.
And then the other guy was outside, and he just had to, like, that's not a 2-person job. So I was like, well, what do I do? I need a carnival game immediately. So we came up with one in less than 8 hours or so, and it was great.
That's awesome.
So we found a big giant clear plastic tub and put 3 cups in it, like one big like drinking cup, one like small little lab cup that I had, and then like a tiny beaker. And we filled it up with water and put stuff in the bottom to make it look cool. Random junk I found in my closet. And then like marbles and bingo markers and some stuff, like whatever. And then they had to stand behind a line. They had to throw pennies, and they had to get it into the cup, and then they get a prize if they get the cup.
Oh,
they were all over it. They were all over it, man. That's what.
That was done.
Yeah, it was good. It was all free, except for we had to go buy some suckers. That was like $5. So
that's not bad.
It was great.
So suckers were the prize.
Yeah, that was our prize, because they're like, well, these are cheap and kids like suckers, and they did like suckers, so
clearly, yeah.
And at the school carnival, the trick is it has to be just like a little bit of skill involved, because like that 5th grade boy and up will keep coming back because they're like, no, wait, hold on, let me try again, right? Especially if their friends are there.
Yeah, they don't want to lose a penny game in front of their friends.
No, they do not. So they just want to keep trying. And it was 2 tickets for like 50 cents to play a thing. It was fine. It doesn't matter.
No.
For 2 tickets for 3 throws, right? 3 little tosserinos into the bin of water. So I thought it was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed it. The kids seemed to like it. And we made like quite a bit of money for the grade level from the carnival. So just on my game with 0 overhead. So I don't know what they made on hot dogs yet, but they had to buy a whole bunch of junk for that. So,
well, yeah.
Wow.
Not as awesome.
Yeah. That's why.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was fun. So, but I didn't want to do the same game we did last year. That's boring. And they'll be like, oh, I played that already. So you got to keep it fresh, right?
What'd you do last year?
Last year we did it was a similar game. We had to throw something else into other cups, but there was no water involved, so this made it better.
Oh.
But last year because we did we were doing a whole thing about like tornadoes and everything.
Yeah.
So we made it like tornado themed. We kind of put the stuff on the table, and there was like in the shape of a tornado, and there was a poster, and we like blacked out the room and turned all the lights off, and we borrowed the light bar from the choir. to like flashlights and stuff in there.
Whoa.
It's pretty awesome. And then,
Whoa.
and they had to throw the ball into the little cups on the table. So similar thing, but there was like one cup that was like the grand prize, and then the rest of it was like, oh, you get it, whatever. But
That's amazing.
yeah. So this one was the same. It took up a lot less room, so we could do the photo booth and the penny toss in the same room, so it wasn't really intrusive. Plus, after people got done taking their photos, they would just come over and play the penny toss game. So it was great. It was 2 for 1, and I did the same thing.
So it was one of those open campus. I want to say open campus carnivals where you like
the whole
different
school.
Things. Oh, that's awesome.
The whole school was there. So a lot of the kids came in. A lot of the 6th graders were there. It was fun. They kind of all roam in together, and it was they're hilarious people, hilarious little kids. They're great. I like them. So, there's hilarious. Like when they're all together like that. Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. But especially the boys, they're insane. But it was fun, and they liked it, and so they would go. Awesome. They'd wander around, and then they come back a little later, and they'd wander off again, and then come back with like a cake because they won the cakewalk. They're like, "Yo, what? What? Cake?" Just carrying that around? Yeah. I'm gonna eat it. Like what?
Very slowly.
Yeah. But it was also the longest day ever because the carnival was from 6 to 8.
Gross.
I came up with the idea. Well, we came up with the idea at about 8:30, 8:45 in the morning. That means I had to stay after school just till it started because we were like, well, we got to do it now.
Yeah.
So I hanging out, doing my stuff. So it's good. It's not all put away. There's still random things just laying around in my classroom right now that I'll get to Monday. Probably.
Winky face.
Probably. I need that bucket back because I stole that from the central office. I was like, hey, do you guys need this like right now? It had a bunch of like extra waste paper in it. And I was like, can I have that? I'll bring it back. I'm like, yeah, sure. So
that's that sounds a lot more fun than the carnival I did when I was at Caney Valley. Like I was pretty much in the concession stand for
you mentioned that last
6
time.
hours. Yeah.
Bingo, right? Yeah. No bingo here. Well, if there was, I don't know about it because I was stuck in my little room. The only problem is the little room that they have before us is like not used by anybody currently. It's like the extra room, right? It's like this weird extra room that's by the gym. It's so hot in there. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
it's like 1,000 degrees.
Gross.
Yeah. So by the end of that, I was like, I'm dying.
It's so hot.
It's like, oh yeah, this is the reason they don't use this room anymore. I know why. It's like random storage room where they have meetings randomly, right? Because there's just some old library tables in there. That's kind of it. And they're like, well,
foyer to Hades, apparently.
Yeah. It used to be a long time ago. Like it was the old choir room, elementary choir room, like 1,000,000 years ago. That's what it was.
Really?
Yeah. But not anymore. Now it's just kind of like there. So they use it for testing and like extra stuff. There's like the staff little, what's it called? I don't remember what it's called now. Like the staff, like the professional development library thing is in there. And like some tables where they do like, if they have to have meetings, sometimes they do it in there. Because it's just like a random room on the side that's out of the way. So.
Oh, okay.
And home of the best carnival games in all the land, right there.
All the land. Well, I would say start getting ready for next year, but we know that won't happen. So
no, it's better when you do it that
the day of.
Yeah, better that way.
It's like the Garbage Wars challenge or whatever.
Yeah, Junkyard Wars.
Yeah.
Man, I want that show back. Bring that.
I know.
All the random television shows you're bringing back nowadays. I want Junkyard Wars. That show was great.
I loved that
That
show.
was the best. You can
So
find the random
much.
episodes of that online, and I've watched it every once in a while.
Yeah.
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 Plus, the British ones are on there too sometimes. Like
Those are my-
just on YouTube. You can just watch
Yeah.
them, and they're fantastic.
Yeah.
And
I just
all
love
their
that concept.
insanity.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it's the best. This was a Junkyard Wars of carnival games. Really, I was just going through my closet, and I was like, "What do I have in here?" Because I have these huge closets, and these big bookcases things, but they're like lawyer bookcases, but they're metal, right? Does that make sense? So like they open
Yeah.
vertically like that,
Yeah.
and there's just a bunch of random stuff in there because it's a science room, and that's just the home of all the most random things ever.
Yeah.
So-
All the random.
Yeah, I was just going through my closets like, what do we have in here? I don't know. Let's see what we got. Me and my friend were just like looking through the closets, like, oh, we can use that. What can we do with this thing? I don't know.
I can't remember what led me up to this, but last year, like the administration was going to come do like the observations, and I didn't have like an experiment planned, and I wanted to do an experiment, so I pretty much like went through my science closet and was like, what can I use to make a random experiment? Like I have these feathers, like that'll be cool, and then I got this box. I can come up with something with that. And yeah, trying to tie in what we were talking about.
A little more pressure than the school carnival, though. I was
Yeah, sure.
That's a little more terrifying.
You reviewed.
Yeah, I had nothing planned. Like we were gonna the kids just took a test and they didn't have like any other thing major, so I was literally gonna put on like a movie and something science related, clearly. But I was like, oh crap! Here's these popsicle sticks. I better do something with those. And here's some yarn. I don't know what I can do. And so I think I ended up doing I gave them the concept of like they had a budget. Each item cost a certain amount, and they had to like build a bridge. And so I kind of did like a construction style, where all right, you have a max budget.
It's very STEM. That's right in there. You're good to go.
But I think we were talking about like weather patterns, and so like a lot of my kids are like, Mr. Funkhauser, what are we doing? I'm like, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know what we're doing either. Let's just do this, and I'll explain later.
We'll make the connections in the wrap up tomorrow. Okay?
Tomorrow.
Go.
Well, it was kind of the same thing whenever I was still in college when I was a substitute teacher, and they called some school in Stillwater called me, and they're like, "Hey, we need you, but we don't know what we need you yet, so just get here." And I'm like, "Okay," and then they're like,
"What?"
And so I show
what kind
up.
of sub call is that? I don't even.
So I show up, and then they're like, "Oh, hey, we need a PE teacher for today." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And they're like, "Well, the original PE teacher was here, but she had to leave for an emergency, and so she didn't like come up with like a lesson plan for today." And so I pretty much had to come up with a PE like activity for like 6 different groups. And
steal the cone. They love that one.
So we did like I think we did a blood circulation relay where I was like, all right, this is the heart. Now you have to go and get the oxygen, but the bacteria are the people with the dodgeballs, and so you have to avoid the bacteria. And yeah, I was flying by the seat of my pants on that day, because they're like, all right, here's like 5th grade, and then here's like pre-K, and then I was like, I'm gonna call a color, and you go grab the hula hoop of that color, and then put a beanbag in there. And yeah, The kids loved it, but I was just like,
all those grades can steal the cone. It's okay. They can do it.
steal the cone. And they were like,
You know what Brandon would do.
they're like,
I don't know.
what game is this
The kids in my class love that game. Every time they play that in PE, they come back like, "Yeah, we played still." Like I don't even know. They're just like into it.
Yeah, the kids would ask me like, what is this game called? And I'm like, do the thing. I don't know. I didn't think that far yet. Give me till tomorrow.
No, that's when you say, "What do you think it should be called?" Yeah, like what? Let's name it right now. What do you
Continue this creative process.
It's workshopping. You're workshopping it. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's
Goodness.
no. So my best friend and his wife, weird segue, sorry, but they moved.
Best kind.
They moved to Washington State. He got an engineering job up there, and they loaded up everything in their like RV trailer. Got rid of like half their stuff, and they moved up there. But he, when I knew him in college, had this like awesome sectional couch, and like it's like the big L-shaped couch thingy. And I joked for years, like, man, I would love to steal your couch one day, blah. And so last week they're like, hey,
you're sitting on it right now, aren't you?
I am,
Aren't you?
And so
oh no.
they're like, hey, I got a job offer in Washington. We got rid of our stuff. We have to find a way to get you this couch. And I'm like, beg your pardon? And at the time, I had the big pull-out couch, and then I had a love seat. And I accepted, but then I looked at my furniture, and I'm like, well, I forgot I already had.
Something's gotta go.
And so the day before I left to go to Oklahoma City.
Wait, let me see what happens here. Are they currently stacked on top of each other?
Negative.
Okay.
Are they like back to back in like a couch spine thing?
No, they are not. There's no bunk bed couch system going on, which I didn't think of. But
Of course you did.
And so I was sitting there.
He just built a fort. He just lives in a fort now.
That's all I live. I don't have a bed. It is Fort Awesome. And they were coming down because they lived in Bentonville, and they're like, hey, we're gonna drop this couch off, then we're gonna drive back, and they're gonna leave. And so I had to go borrow one of my other friends' family's trucks, and then like move half the furniture by myself, and then I got back, and then I had to go and meet them to pick up said couch. And it was a long, monotonous task of furniture arrangement, which was finally completed after like 6 hours of, cursing and temporary crying and just like, I just want this couch. That's all I want. And so I got the other couch. The love seat thingamabobber is gone. I still have the pull-out thing, but that is currently in the corner. But I do have a good home to where that is going to go. And then I have a futon randomly that Dad came by one weekend and was like, hey, you need a futon? I'm like, not really. So now I have a futon.
It's like couch Tetris. That's what I'm imagining in my head.
Exactly.
It's like how you move all these things around in your apartment.
Yeah.
The apartment is not big at all. It is.
Yeah, it's like couch Tetris. Like, how do I make them go?
It is
Pretty amazing.
So the living room actually looks pretty bomb. I'm not gonna lie. Pretty couchy.
Chuck would love it. He'd be like, I don't know what to lay on first. Oh my gosh.
All the softness.
Yeah, so I have the futon. So it's kind of like it's in a box pretty much. An open-end box. I got my TV with the little entertainment system thingamabobber. I have a massive coffee table, which I have no idea where that came from. And then I have my big sectional, and then I have a futon, and I can actually lay out and do do the fun things like watch TV or video games while I watch TV. So there's many possibilities that can happen here. So it is
while watching TV.
It's a cornucopia of all
lounging.
Yeah.
It is the epitome of a lounge.
A lounge.
But yeah, that was my weekend before I left to go to Norman, and
that's not stressful at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
but
nice and relaxing.
And then I had to leave, so I couldn't enjoy it.
Yeah, that's even worse. Like, just be gone for the first part of the week, just knowing that there's a new couch at your house that you can't sit on right now. Like, just sitting there thinking about it. Like,
I did all of this work, and one of the people
hiding for the couch.
I was down there with was like, Aaron, why do you look so bummed? I'm like, I got a couch. And I can't sit on it for a week. This is bullcrap. And she's like, are you seriously upset about a couch? I'm like, it's not just a couch. It's a section.
It's like the one couch I've always wanted.
I've been dreaming about this couch for years, and it's finally mine, and I have to be here.
I can enjoy it. But, yeah,
I wanted to play video games on my new couch. That's all I wanted.
Just let me be.
Yeah, I didn't have a picture of the couch on my phone. I couldn't reminisce about it when I was down there. I couldn't show people like a puppy. Like, hey, do you guys want to see a really cute picture? Like, yeah, it's a dog. Like, no, it's a couch.
Everyone else is like, and this is my toddler. And you're like, you want to see my couch?
I
really miss it.
That's what I talked about on the first day when they asked, tell us about yourself. I'm like, I got a couch. This is my couch. I like it because it is big and it is brown. And it is comfy. But yes, and I'm actually talking to you guys. I have my laptop on one end, and I still cannot figure out a stupid setup with my mic stand thingy. And so I have my gamer headset plugged in, and I'm actually currently playing video games while talking because I'm going to enjoy this, dang it. I'm going to have fun.
Well, now I have to know what you're playing. If you lead him.
So I got bored, and I got what am I playing? Call of Duty World War II.
Oh, okay.
And as a historian, I am slightly disappointed.
What?
Like I pick up a
really
weapon.
Have high expectations for
I know.
Call of Duty.
I just thought maybe one game. Like I picked up. Like I'm sitting here playing, and there's a weapon in here, and I'm like, the Germans didn't have this firearm. Still 44, but okay. Yeah,
maybe next time.
I don't have to enjoy.
Email Activision. Hey, listen, guys.
Write a very strongly worded letter.
I'm gonna write about it in my blog.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, you're currently talking about it on your podcasts.
That's true. So this is
guys, if you're bored, let's follow me on my blog so I can explain how BS Activision is about their historical content.
Yeah, no, you should do it right now. That's what this is for.
Uh-huh. Is that what it is? Wait a minute, I'm very confused.
It's one of the things. It's fine.
Okay.
Nah.
My goodness.
I'm enjoying this couch, dang it. That's all that matters.
That's true.
Yes. I'm glad.
But yeah, now that I have this headset, I can actually take it down with me to Norman. And so if we need to podcast while I'm down there, like this is 1,000 times more portable than my mic stand thing. So if we need to do that, we can.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Are you dying?
Yeah. Well, Aaron killed me with his couch. I got pictures of my couch on my phone thing.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard, I think I'm out of breath.
Well, I do now, dang it, because I got home and I'm like, look at this.
It's your background, isn't it? You just put out your screensaver.
On my Facebook page. I'm like, Aaron is up
his
your
profile.
Aaron
is in a relationship.
Couch.
Yeah, with his couch.
Hey, don't be making fun of something that could have happened after I got off this. You don't know. But yeah, this couch also has a lot of what's the word? Emotional significance, because I didn't hit it was like a weird time during my college career where I was like, is this really what I want to do? Like, what am I doing? That was an everyday kind of thing of like, what am I doing? Where am I going? How did I get here? And my friend's his apartment was a lot cooler than mine, and he had an Xbox and PlayStation, so we go over there and do homework and whatever. And I spent many times on this couch, and they were they weren't like, I'm gonna say dark times, but they were moderately dim times. and this is the same friend that I was the beneficiary at their wedding, him and his wife's wedding.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so
forgot about that.
I bring it up as much as possible. Like, oh, how's your day? How's your day? Well, I was a beneficiary at a wedding. It was pretty excellent.
By the way, have you seen this couch?
Couch.
It's not as good as that day I was a beneficiary at my friend's wedding, but it's pretty good.
Like a beneficiary on the couch, I would have been perfect. And so, like, always going over there if I just had like a crappy day, and him and his wife just being super awesome people. And when I finally, after 12 hours of moving the giant hunk of crap, I sat down on it.
It does. Don't do that.
I sat down and I'm like, this is like the first time I ever sat on this couch without my friends.
Mm.
And so it was just like whoa, this is pretty heavy, man.
Yes.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That was good, Marty. Nice.
Yes.
What do you mean heavy? That's some gravitational pull. But yeah, so this is a pretty special couch. Special couch to me. I am comfortable. I am content. It is heavy, and it is not moving again for the next 30 years. Whenever,
but now it's stationary, so it's fine.
It is stationary.
Ta-da!
This is what you get. Be happy.
Now, if only the historically accurate firearms were there, they would just be complete.
So I picked up a gun. I'm like, the Germans didn't use this gun. This was a Japanese firearm. What is this doing in the game? One of my
have so many models that they're dumping there. It's okay.
No.
Yeah.
Whoops. One of my friends is a speaking of being super annoyed at historical things, is a Post Malone fan. Post Malone, the artist, musician, or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just really wondering where this is going right now.
So
I'm very concerned.
Hang with me. You will. You won't regret it, but
we'll see.
Just okay.
I'm
first of all,
kind of already regretting this.
Shut up. You love me. So
that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true, but I'm still worried.
He released the music video, and
I'm just thinking about that meme that says like have you seen the one like pre-Malone, post Malone? Seen that one? It's like it's middle school picture. It's great. I love it. Sorry. Anyway.
And so he released a music video, and it's medieval themed. Like it has a very knight maiden. Just a medieval style, and the whole time I was watching the video,
the armor's wrong, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I was like, if this is later in the time period, they actually would be using full plate armor instead of partial plate armor. And actually, the banners of that style wouldn't have come around until about the 13th century.
Very nice. Thank
and
you.
To this day,
what are you doing wearing a tabard? That was so 12th century. Get out of here.
I cannot tell you what the song is actually about because I sat there and complained about the video the entire time. And my friend's like, "Did you like the video?" And I'm like, "Not one bit. Let me tell you about the horse armor, which actually wouldn't have been used until the later end of the 15th century." She's like, "You're an idiot." I'm like, no, I don't. I have a degree in history, so thank you. I don't have much, guys. Just bear with me, okay?
No, I like it. I like it. Have you? So this is partially hilarious because I literally just watched a video yesterday on YouTube about this exact same concept. It was just a different media that they were talking about. They were talking about some movie on Netflix. I can't remember now what it was. Some sort of new movie on Netflix. And the guy, it's one of those like he talks about arms and armor, right? and he was talking about the armor, and he was like, "What the heck? What?" Like he was ranting like hardcore, like really bad.
Yeah.
And so it just reminded me of that, right? It's reminded me of it's that Scola Gladiatoria to that Matt Easton guy. He's he's so good. He's so funny. But like when he goes on these tirades about stuff, it's so hilarious. And so it just made me think of that. And that
you're not alone, Aaron.
Yeah, not just
Dang
you.
right. Yeah, I had my little nerd moment. No one understood what I was talking about. It's like, no, guys, it's like a really cool concept.
That's that whole like, no one else cares, but I care, and I care a whole awful lot.
It's important, guys. I promise.
No, that happens in my house to me very frequently. So I sympathize very much with what you're dealing with right now, because all the time, both of them are, what? Like, listen, it's more, and they just look at me like, what are you talking about? I have no idea.
Stay with me. On the grand scheme of things, this is totally not a big deal. But right now, we really need to focus on this one issue.
No, seriously. Yeah, I was out after Carnival. That's all I did this week.
You guys out? Oh, well, my week back to work was crazy. Last week I was at last time we talked, I was at the that training thing.
Conference, right?
Oh, yeah.
Conference thing. And that ended really well. We did several instances of role playing. So we would get cards with little bits of information on them, and we were supposed to act as a character.
You were the wizard, right?
Well, no. But in the last
Druid?
Druid.
Battle Mage.
Was the end.
Oh, Battle Mage, yes.
No, in the last one that we did, there was some conflict about beach usage between
this is very, very lots of beach usage at the conference.
Yeah, between the nudists and the locals. And I got my card, and I was the president of the Nudist Society.
Were you a local nudist? Is that what
I was the nudist president of the society.
And Druid.
Yeah, and Druid, as it turned. Yeah, and so what you weren't supposed to share with who you had, and we went around the room and we were practicing our interviewing skills, and so the person gets picked to interview, and I get called next, and
he just took his shirt off and walked over there.
No, I walked up and I handed her my phone, and I said, "Could you hold this? I don't have any pockets." And she looked at me, and then all of a sudden, the dawning realization of what was about to transpire.
Well, it probably confused her because you said that to her wearing cargo pants, and she was like, "Dude, you have the most pockets."
Yeah. And so she was like, she's like, "So is there anybody else we need to talk to?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, no, there's this really cool guy. It's like something like Johnson. He comes down here all the time, and you want to, we were we called the new people. We had to induct them into the Society of Nudists. So they, instead of newbies, we called them nudies.
Oh my gosh!
What else would you call them?
I know. What else? And
I'm slightly concerned that you took your role playing so seriously that you came up with like a backstory, and like you seem to have come up with like some sort of weird like Masonic traditions of your local nudist people. Like, I don't think it works like that. I just think they're like, "Yo, dude, I don't like to wear pants." Like, me neither. Okay, cool. I think that's kind of it. I don't think it's like an initiation rite where you have to go into the cave and like seek the artifact, right? Like, what else are you gonna do? Someone's been playing too much Dungeons and Dragons. You gotta calm it down a little bit. I was not far off with the Druid thing here. I think that's what
so the background was like, you're the president of the Nudist Society, and you're very passionate
with Grandmaster. It's like, yes.
And but not much like that. Not much backstory. And so when they would ask like, what's your job and what do you do? I had to come up with stuff. So there was the phrase that I kept using.
Job. What
they were trying to. She was asking like, how would I describe the group? And I was like, the group lately, we're a bunch of tight knit, loose hanging people around here, and it's just great to have everybody here. And they, I'm sorry, it's only
so
funny
much innuendo, so much. I just can't even like. I was really
like,
wow, make every
because
phrase.
If I can't make at least somebody uncomfortable with these innuendos and jokes, I don't know. It was just I had an opportunity and I took it. Let's be real. I just
oh
yeah.
So did you have to stay as that character like all day or?
No, it was just for that one exercise.
Anyway.
I did. Anyway, yeah. When we came back from
lunch,
let me tell you.
Shirtless, just strolling in the room.
But no, and then we came back, and this week was just, it was insane because I was, it's a short week because I had Monday off for Columbus Indigenous Peoples Invasive People Day. I don't know.
Oh man, yeah.
And
that's when I read that article. I realized that it was Columbus Day after I read that. I was like, this makes sense now.
Yeah. Okay. And then because we're trying to prepare for our big workshop that we give twice a year, and it's this coming week. And so we were trying to get all prepared for that. And then I was trying to onboard a new hourly employee. And let's be honest, make my presentation that I was supposed to have made like a month ago to give to my boss to let her know how it's going to be next week.
Of course.
That was fun.
Is that just me? Bye.
No, I know. So it was crazy. And then Thursday, went in and I had an outpatient surgery that was interesting. It was planned. And it's we'll say that as part of family planning, somebody had to bite the bullet, and that was me who drew the short end of that straw.
Yeah.
So
Collin's turning into dad of telling us when he's having major surgeries, like the day after.
After it's happened, yeah. It's great.
Major. I was awake for the whole thing, unfortunately. It was bad. You want to talk about awkward? I'm getting there.
I don't actually. Thanks. I'm good. I don't want
to. Getting prepped for the surgery, and the nurse is like, "So, what do you do for a living?" And I was like, I am not talking about anything right now."
Did you just re-up your nudist backstory? Like, so
I should have. Oh gosh!
I just brought that back up as your alter ego. Like, oh, hey,
so funny. But the lady who was doing the intake forms was like, each time we do one of these, I think we need to get in, we need to get our practice in good with the local wax center so that we can send everybody there for prep and see how quickly people drop out whenever they find out they've got to go get a Brazilian or something. And we're like, huh, that's funny. But she put the pad on my thigh to monitor my heart rate and all that stuff. And she was like, now when this comes off, a lot of guys will say, oh, she put on, she goes, oh, you're not nearly hairy as other guys. And I was like, thanks, I think, Brett. And she put it on. And she goes, now a lot of guys say that this hurts the worst than anything else. And I was like, I don't believe you. And then she went to halfway through the procedure. I was sweating so profusely that the pad became unstuck.
Flatline.
It wouldn't stick, so they had to pause the procedure and wouldn't progress until they had another one back on. And at the end, she was peeling it off, and it just she pulled off the second one, just slid off. And I was like, see, here you go. You need to tell the guys to come in here, not be hairy, and sweat like a in church, and you'll be fine. And she thought that was very funny. But the lady,
it would have been better if you're like, I'm a nudist, so it's fine. It doesn't bother me.
It's fine, right. Take it all off.
I shave for a reason.
Oh. Yeah, no, that was an interesting procedure. The doctor was like, halfway through, the doctor was like, "I'm sorry, this is taking so long. It's usually not this hard." And I was like, "I would apologize, but I don't know what I did wrong." And then she's like, "I'm just having problem, finding some stuff right now. It's kind of interesting." And I was like, "Yeah, again, I'm going to try not to take that too personally, but And then at the end, she was like, "You doing okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm doing fine." And we had been having some banter back and forth. And she goes, "No one ever asked me how I'm doing, and my back does hurt." And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry for you, and I pray large, robust, vast deference for you all the days of your life." And she just kind of stopped what she was doing and smiled and was like, "Okay." I was like, "I cannot handle these kind of awkward situations. Don't start me talking, because we don't know where this is going to end up."
Oh God, why?
Mm-hmm. So that's been fun. So I'm on some hydrocodone, just to make that perfectly aware.
Collin is high AF.
Oh dear.
Yeah. But I saved my story for last. Jeez.
Well, yeah, I don't think we could have followed that one really well. So dang it, I don't know.
What I was going to kind of gear towards was that when I was down there, we had to do kind of like mock interviews with some of the people, and then they're like,
"Were you a nudist too?"
No.
To be really
and then Collin dove in.
Carnival idea, Brandon.
What? No, that is a terrible idea.
I'm out. No.
Okay, but I had to. They're like people who've interviewed before, who has experience interviewing. Go to this side, and for the people who've never interviewed, for what we do is, because us as investigators, we have to, if there's a case, we have to go talk to the kids. We have to go talk to all the family members that's involved, and sometimes it can go good, sometimes it can go not so good. And then they're like, "Okay, here's your script. Have at it." And we're going to have all these new people, aka literally the people that just graduated college, be the people who are the people who's going to come interview you, the either disgruntled or cooperative parent. And I'm like, "Oh, dibs on disgruntled, please." And
did you just have like the Law and Order theme song playing in your head while they were passing us out? Like,
so anyway, no, I didn't think about that till later, because I was like, I did have the first part like, here in New York, the criminal justice services.
Yeah, there you
go. These are the stories. Dun dun. But no, I made each interview, because they had to come knock on my door and interview me in my home about whatever concerns. And I had a lot of fun with it. I can't exactly tell you verbatim like what we talked about, but
you're not a nudist, right?
No, sure. I was. So okay. I was either a very
just to clarify,
Southern gentleman,
oh Lord,
or also known as a redneck, or I was a like posh, sophisticated, like aristocrat. And they were like, what are we doing? Yo, I was like, "Oh, good afternoon. Upon which to just bring you to my
French
door."
Revolution? What is happening? I don't know.
And they're like, what are we supposed to do? And I'm like, "You're supposed to adapt to the situation and action."
It's yes and.
Yeah, so people were not expecting like what I brought to the table, and that was fine by me. Because there's been some times where like I'll go up to a house and I'll be like, "Oh, this is like, nice and quaint, and should be pretty easy," and then it becomes not easy. Or I can visit some of like a very rundown home and have like some of the nicest people in the world. And that's kind of what I explained to them. I was like, guys, you have no idea what you're going to come up with. Like I have had, I've never had a firearm pointed at me, but that doesn't mean it can never happen. And like I said, I've had the the most horrid home conditions, but have like had like the nicest people that I've talked to. Or I've gone to really nice homes and then just had like really like vulgar people that have talked to me. So I'm like, you don't know what you're gonna get. And the more like fluid in your conversation that you are, the easier it's gonna be for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like as long as you can not like hold your ground, but kind of hold your ground, but be able to talk in any situation and know when you need to leave or know when you need to like push the conversation. Like if you know like those things, I mean, you'll be fine. But yeah, they were not expecting, what I brought to the table, and I was totally okay with that.
Did you start talking like Foghorn Leghorn?
No, not that Southern. Although I did think about it, but I was kind of like, no, I should probably, direct it towards something that what they're going to expect given towards the area that we inhabit.
Take it a little seriously.
Except for one, he pulled out just actually, again, druid, and he just went with it, and he just went really caught him off guard there.
Yeah, I was like sometimes like super aggressive or just like overly polite and nice, and I did not use my script at all because I was like, there's no script in the field. Speaking like a 20-year veteran.
Yeah, right. Like,
but it was like there's a lot of things like that I enjoyed because I was like, well, this would have been nice for me to learn, before I actually went out and did it. And then they did a lot of like the cliche first day of class stuff. Like, no, tell us a little, like, go ahead and stand up and tell us a little bit about you and just, just have a little fun with it. And like, I hate you. I don't want to be here. It is 7:00 in the morning. No one is this chipper. I've been doing this for a while. Don't talk to me.
Again, just tell them your bio from like your Skyrim character or something. Just tell them about you. Like, well,
I didn't think about.
I woke up the other day in this wagon, right? And I was headed towards Helgen.
Aaron has many.
They caught me trying to escape the border, right? But they drug me back.
Those damn Imperials. But yeah, like we did some of those things like that, and I'm sure some of the other people that, because what they do, like every 2 days is someone different, like someone that either presents or like some sort of training that we have to do. Yeah, and so every single person that comes to our little thing or that we go to is like, so I would just want, everybody to go around the room and just tell me a little about yourself. I'm like, I will. Fine.
Well, I'll tell you something.
Like I will tell you, I am not happy. But yeah, so that's
just keep coming up with different video game protagonists to tell them about. Like,
right?
Well, the people that sit next to me are like, we're all kind of the same. Like we not in
the vault dweller one day. Like I woke up in the vault. Right?
Like we're all people who like understand why we're here, but we're all miserable that we are here or are down there. And so like my little group, we kind of like, we know what's going on. Even though I've been only doing it for like 2 months and they've been doing it for some time, like we've all kind of connected, and all of us are kind of enjoying like each other with our kind of little like things like that. But yeah, I might have to come up with something different for every time. But yeah, every single stupid time we have to talk to somebody, it's like, so just go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself. I'm like, why do you hate me, especially this early in the morning? Because I hated that when I was in college. Like especially like the first few years, not so much at NEO because it was such a small campus, everyone knew each other. But at Oklahoma State, everybody did that. until like I got to like every class except for my like history classes, because the history professors were all old and grumpy anyway, and they just did not care. But yeah, like for like I had a 7:30 speech class, and they're like, so just just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, it makes sense in speech class because the whole point of that class is to talk about things.
Extemporaneous conversation.
Yeah, but not for like statistics at 8:00 in the morning.
I mean, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying for speech, that would make sense.
Nah.
That's the one where it's like, yeah, okay, I can see that. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
I like sociology. That's a weird one. Like, what?
Yeah, my history professors were always pretty cool about that. They're like, I will only care of who you are if you come to my office and talk to me. Other than that, I don't care. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, it was always, like for the traditional syllabus week, where like the first week of school, you don't necessarily have like a class. You just go in and you're not going to do anything. It's pretty much like, here's a syllabus. Here's who I am. This is what you're going to do. Like, and you don't do anything. Every history class I had was like, all right, day 1, we're going to be talking about, the French Revolution. Or like, well, I didn't bring any paper. This is a blast. But yeah, every history professor was like, if you come to my office, then I'll care. I'm like, oh, yay. They don't like people just like me. This is perfect. But yeah, it was, I don't know what I'll be doing this coming week. I know like we're going to do some like, some more interactive interviews or, I do think we're actually going to have like a fake court there where they, they'll have like, like you'll have to testify, which I've already done like 4 times. And so that'll be fun. But other than that, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing this week. I just know where I'll be, and that's about it.
There you go. Surprising.
Yeah, that's fine. It'd be boring if you knew what was going to happen. So just roll with it.
Just roll with the punches, Be malleable. Just go with it, But yeah, it is quite an interesting job that I'm in, and it can be interesting. Like I got back Thursday night, like super late, like annoyingly late, and that's when you called me, Cog, and you're like, "Hey, you're out." I'm like, "I'm an hour away."
Oh yeah.
Don't talk to me. I will eat my phone.
No, don't eat your phone. That's not nutritious.
And then I got back to like my office the next day, and I had like a few cases, and I just sat there and did nothing for like 3 hours. Well, I had to do like the pre-conference surveys, which took me a whole like 2 hours to do, and then I just sat at my desk for like another hour and a half. Then I'm like, I'm gonna leave early, and I just left at like 3.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was not having Gamma Friday. Aaron was quite sleepy. But
yeah, well,
it's a long week.
Can't blame me really. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this next week should be slightly easier now that I've kind of adapted to what I'm all doing or how long it's going to take and things like that.
True.
So, yeah, it'll be all right. But yeah, I'll have not all my equipment, but I'll have all the stuff with me if we need to do some podcasting.
For sure we will.
For sure. I also found out that it is for $5 to the Department of Conservation, you can hunt rattlesnakes for all year long.
What?
Yep. There's a rattlesnake. I was really bored one day while I was down there, and so I was just.
Yeah, sounds like.
Are you?
No. Aaron is too much of a sissy.
Oh,
it sounds to me like Aaron's going. It sounds like Aaron's going snake hunting.
I think he is.
No, Aaron's
too.
No snake
hunting.
hunting.
You don't just bring that up casually and then not intend to follow through with it.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I was sitting at my
get your knee high rubber boots, your milking boots, right?
Yeah.
That's eat some of those, and then I don't know what you hunt a rattlesnake with.
You need a rattlesnake
either.
stick, which is like a snake stick, or you can get the ones like with the giant tongs.
Right.
But no, I was sitting there at my little desk while I was down there, and the person next to me, who was we were sitting there talking, and I was just like pulled up on my phone, and I was just looking at what is it called? Aaron's drawing a blank. Oh no, hunting licenses for Oklahoma.
Oklahoma Department of Conservation, maybe.
Mhm.
Kind of. But I was like sitting there like looking at like a price sheet, like how much does like a bear license cost and all this stuff, and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
Bears?
heck yeah, we do.
Oh, no. What?
Well, that's mostly towards like the eastern side.
Arkansas.
I was gonna say, yeah, southeast maybe. That makes
But yeah,
sense.
we got some bears down here. But I was like, whoa, check this out. And of course, she was not interested. She's like, what? I'm like, do you know you can hunt rattlesnakes for $5? And she's like, I can't believe I'm sitting next to you. I'm like, no, this is really cool. Look at it. Hey, look, you can get a permit.
By Thanksgiving, Collin, by
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, how many snakeskin belts will Aaron have?
I think he will have all of the snakeskin.
All-
All the snake skins.
I think he will only be dressed in snakeskin attire.
So wallet, belt.
Yes,
For
wallet,
sure.
belt. He'll definitely have a hat.
Working on boots?
Yes, working
Or
on
boots by then. That's only a month away. And it's
Yeah,
not really
okay.
snake season, so
Okay, that's true.
Isn't
That's
there a ZZ Top song about wearing like gator skin boots? Is there a song?
I don't.
Because we need to replace it with rattlesnake skin.
Well, I think while you're on that topic, Aaron, just so you know, it is unlawful to possess an American alligator in Oklahoma. I just want to make sure that you are aware of that. Instead, but it sounds like you're starting to go off the deep end.
what?
What? What is the person that tried to murder me when we were down in Texas?
What?
That when we were in the water, you're like, oh, hey, I just remembered. There was gators found in the river like a mile away from us.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's
They're
not
a mile away. They're a mile away.
No.
There's no way they would swim that far away.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Brandon,
because alligators don't swim at wait a
They
minute.
don't.
so we were
Oh,
we were doing something down in Texas, whatever Texans do in their free time, and
Listen, rattlesnake boy, I don't think you get to.
we pull up to this river, and I'm like, man, this looks like prime habitat for gators. And Colin just pauses. I'm like, Colin? He's like, oh yeah, the river over, they
story.
caught a family of gators. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
You're like, no, this will be fine.
Mhm.
And so from learning the lessons of the late great Steve Irwin, I grabbed a gator stick, and while I was pulling the net, I had it out in front of me, like poking the water.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mhm. Just so again, I want to help you in your endeavor to go after those rattlesnakes, Aaron. You may not introduce, deposit, place, or drain any deleterious, noxious, toxic, or petroleum-based substances into or around any underground den or rock crevices for the purposes of taking reptiles or amphibians.
It's
So-
who I am.
No
Why-
gas.
Why are you
Dad.
quoting like Oklahoma conservation laws? What is happening right now?
Just so that this is out there and Aaron can make his belt in the safest way possible. You know, trying to, want to make sure he's doing it accordingly.
Oh my goodness.
Didn't a few years ago?
This is where I seem to remember that this is where they find like enormous rattlesnakes too. I've seen pictures somewhere
Yeah.
like, and they're like, "Yeah, I got this 7-foot rattlesnake." You're like, "What?"
Yeah, they
It's
get
like
they have the,
southern Oklahoma, I think, is where these come from. So
yeah, and they have the Massasaugas, which are like the meanest of mean rattlesnakes too. Yeah,
The what?
I've literally never heard that word until just right now. So I don't know.
Massasauga?
Colin, explain. What is that?
the Massasaugas. They're a rattlesnake species, and they're found in central U.S. down to northern Mexico, and throughout. And they're like they're smaller, so sometimes they're harder to see. But they get these thick, short, stubby bodies, and they're pretty mean.
Whoa.
Like an
That's
adder
cool.
almost. Right.
Kind of like an adder. I mean, I think in
It wasn't
in
family,
behavior,
but, like,
yeah, they're
body shape,
vipers.
because some of those adders are like fat little dudes. So like
Mhm,
they're kind of like, listen, I'm not going to bother you if you get near me. I'm going to
mhm.
eat your face off.
Because they're ornery because they got all them teeth.
Yeah,
I don't,
but they
don't
kind of
know if
live
that's
in like
why, but
yeah, they live in kind of the wetter areas, so wetlands, or adjacent to water a lot of times. So that's something I know like we have to watch out for because I'm around water quite a bit. So
I don't know. I've never heard that, and I've never seen one of those. So this is all news to me. I don't. I'm also just thinking about that. There's this show on National Geographic. It's called like Snake City, right?
what?
And it's this dude and his girlfriend, and they live in South Africa,
Okay.
like Cape Town, South Africa, and they're snake removal people because like people just call them and they're like, "There's a black mamba in my living room." And these people go and like get it out.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah. And sometimes there was one the other day, some dude was like, I just saw this big snake go in my wood pile. I don't know what it is. Definitely Mozambique spitting cobra.
Holy crap. No.
Yeah.
No. Burn it down. Jeez.
And then there's like, because they get all the cool snakes in South Africa. So there was a boom slang, right? I'm saying that right, in the tree, like in the park, like right above these picnicking people.
Yeah.
Like green mambas, forest cobras, night adders or whatever, just hanging out in people's gardens, and they go and they get them out. Right? There was definitely one where this lady, there's a black mamba like under her bed, like yeah.
Jiminy crickets.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's crazy, right? And they just go and get them out, take them out to the wood or somewhere else, like drive them way outside the city and get rid of them, dump them back into the forest. But like, yeah, it's they get some crazy ones, like.
Jeez. No, the animal removal people are insane. I don't know how they.
Yeah, especially black mamba animal removal people. Like what? That's not.
Yeah. No, that's not a normal. That's not a normal thing.
Yeah. They bring up on the show quite often that if you are bitten by a black mamba, you got about 20 minutes. That's kind of it. Like,
oh my gosh. The animal removal guy for Pahuska literally looks like a younger version of Bill Green, but still with the beard.
Mm-hmm.
And he is just like, because he showed up to a case we were working on, and he came out, and I was like, oh my gosh, is that Bill Green? And I don't know how many teeth he has, but it definitely impaired his communicatory. He's able to talk skills.
Communication?
That is not a word. Something was said there.
Communicatory.
Communicatory?
Yeah.
I think it's communication is the word you're searching for, sir.
What's the symbology? And he came out and like he said something to me, and I was just like, huh? And yeah, it just. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get to the squirrels," and just like walked away. And I'm like, "Okay, bye, strange person." And yeah, I've had like one other run-in with him, but yeah, I'm sure he has had to catch some crazy specimens.
Yeah,
and so yeah, I can only imagine how difficult and how tasking that job is. Of, hey, there's an animal in my attic. I don't know what it is. Come get it. Like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And imagine when you get to there, it's a forest cobra. Just surprise. Like,
ta-da.
Like, oh, this is an enormous forest cobra. Like, in your face. Like, oh. Like, I think it's behind this refrigerator. Let me stick my hands back here so I can move it out. That's how this works in the show. It's kind of nuts. It's like, oh god.
I will say I was terrified for years. There was a show on the Animal Planet, and that was my phone. That was my thing. And it talked about, snakes crawling up through the pipes. And it was like some sort of, it must have been in Africa or in Australia or something. But like a snake had crawled in through like the plumbing and bitten this individual while they're using the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And for years afterwards, like I think I was like in middle school when I first watched it. Like it was years afterwards where like every time I would have to use the bathroom, it was like a thorough investigation of the toilet, and I was like, okay, this access,
pre-flush just to make sure. Like, yo,
yeah, like I was freaked out. Like I have it was. I was like, okay, I'm gonna check behind the toilet. Is anything? No. Okay, I'm gonna open up this. Okay, there's nothing there. All right, and I'm gonna take a thing of toilet paper and hold it over. Does anything attack it? No. Okay.
Put the
Aaron's
plunger
been
in there
for
first.
35 minutes. What's going on?
I did not want to get bit.
Either
I want to get bit in the butt.
bad takeout or snake inspection. One of those two things.
Yeah, I was not going to die on the toilet by thunder. I've seen movies. I know how embarrassing that is.
It's fine. It's like the third thing people bring up about Elvis. So it's, it's a big deal.
Took me a second. I was like,
third.
wait a second.
Mm-hmm.
But not the first. That's what I'm getting at here. Not the first. So it's fine.
Yeah. It's down on the list. You don't have to
Yeah,
worry about
exactly.
So I had an idea for another segment that we could do is where we could go round robin reading the police reports from our cities and enjoy.
Oh no! Bet you. Oh fuck! I don't know which one. Aaron, I don't know who's gonna win. I don't know what's gonna happen here. Ours is always just weird. It's just like, oh, somebody, like, I don't know. Ours is just ridiculous and drug related. Like 75 pounds of marijuana found in the highway.
The first, I get emails from the city about stuff, and yeah, the first one was driver was found to be driving while revoked, possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, possession of marijuana, and possession of a controlled substance. I was like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's what mostly ours are around here.
Nothing fun.
Like, well,
I'm sure I can have a few things that'll. I know I can have a few things that
get
will,
weird ones. Like, there's a
yeah,
lot of bizarre things here, but like, yeah.
So anyway, that segment we don't have to go down that road. I just
We'll see.
Ending in crash with a tree is another one that I'm scrolling back and seeing. Okay, anyway, we'll close out of that.
So in Oklahoma, we have this thing called it's called the jailbirds, and out of every just imagine what the mental image of what you're thinking about. It's probably
my
going to be
imagination's running wild right now. Don't know about that.
I'm
Jailbirds it's a magazine that is published every 2 weeks, I think. And what it is that it takes the mugshots from all of the individuals who were arrested and booked that night, and so they then post it in a magazine, which other states don't do that, but in Oklahoma, it's something that's
other states have the internet.
Yeah, and
other states are like, oh no, that's wrong to do, but not in Oklahoma.
Okay, so I am.
Yeah, if you want to Google it real quick, it's actually really interesting. It's really funny when I was in school during homecoming week. So it's really funny during homecoming week, which it is in Stillwater right now, or at least it was homecoming, and then they lost to Baylor. But you can go through it the week after, and you can be like, oh, hey, that person's in my class, that person's in my class, that person's in my class. And they had a whole section just saved for DUIs. And I'm like, hey, I know that person. Hey, I know that.
That's so weird.
It's something that this guy, they did an interview him with on the news, and there's like, yeah, I just felt like people should know, and I started this magazine. And I'm like, oh, cool, okay. Like, that's neat.
I don't know how to feel about this.
I don't know. I'm trying to get
I'm
into
very
the psyche.
conflicted.
Well, the psyche of someone who like subscribes to that. Like,
No,
what
you
are
can pick it up at a gas station. Like,
Well,
it's just
yeah,
there.
but still, like, what?
Yeah, but
like,
you still have to purchase
But-
it. Yes.
Yeah,
it's
you do.
only like $3 or something like that.
But you still have to buy it.
Aaron hasn't bought one. Don't worry, but he knows it.
I know it
But, like,
exists.
But I
I'm
guess
just-
it's the kind of
I'm
same
just-
person who like, listens just to the police scanner all day. I guess I don't
That
know.
wouldn't-
I don't know
that
how
wouldn't
those
surprise me.
Venn diagrams overlap, but that just seems weird.
I mean, strong. So I don't know. I have. It's a weird like. I don't know, really. Well, I'm trying to form this thought in my head, but
Okay.
it's like so. Okay, let me back up a few feet here. Like I like to watch that live PD show sometimes,
Oh
Yeah.
right? But then I find myself morally conflicted while I'm
Mhm.
watching it. Okay, because I am watching people less fortunate than me in an altercation with the police for my own entertainment.
yeah.
And that's a little weird, right? I catch myself thinking about that and I go, okay, that's bizarre. That's a weird classism thing that's happening here that
Mhm.
we've monetized for entertainment value.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes some of the things that the people say on the show, like the presenters, you just gotta go, wait,
Ooh.
what?
Ooh. Yeah.
Like the jokes that they try to make, like ha ha ha. But sometimes they say something and you just go, what? That's not funny.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe because I don't know, this area of Missouri, I don't know, is like extremely like poverty ridden. So like
Well, yeah.
that's just something that happens around here. And so I just kind of think about like that's not really funny.
I mean, it
Right,
kind
like,
of is.
And so I have a hard time because I enjoy the show. I like to watch it sometimes, but other times I catch myself going, wait,
Yeah,
I don't know how I feel about myself right now. Because
So I-
You're kind of being voyeuristic on someone else's
Yeah, and
misfortune.
I'm morally conflicted by enjoying someone else's bad time, right?
Yeah,
Like
I mean, 'cause-
they're struggling people, like they're doing their thing, and they're they're in a bad way, and it's not a mirthful situation, and yet it's being presented to me on television as entertainment.
Well, on the extreme end of this spectrum is the big thing that was happening. Gosh, was that like 10 years ago, where like the homeless people fighting for money, and being recorded to
yeah.
sell,
long
you know,
time
like,
ago.
yeah, like
Yeah.
maybe 10 years or more. So like on the extreme end of this, you're at that end, going,
Yeah.
like this is
I
a
forgot
really
about that, but
bad situation, and then. But then it is that continuous spectrum all the way up to Big Brother reality TV and everything in between, and knowing what is staged, what is not staged, what's real life, and being from the outside looking in, and knowing, as you mentioned, of I have a position of privilege to be watching this as someone's life is being not is being destroyed in some real sense,
or
of
at
that
least altered
feeling.
irreparably, right? Like
Yeah.
So on the one end of the spectrum, like when you're watching like Jersey Shore or whatever. I know my
Yeah.
reality TV show, my reality television show.
A little dated. It's okay.
It's a
don't
little
worry.
it's dated. It's fine, but like that stuff, right? They signed up for it at least.
Yes.
Right? So whatever misfortune may befall them, they signed a piece of paper saying, "Hey, follow me around with the camera while I do weird things." Right?
Mhm.
And so most network television reality shows are that formula, right? It's like, oh, I signed this paper. You can follow me. If something happens, like I told you could do it, so it's fine. Right?
And yeah, like I know like a lot of it is like overhyped. Like there is a script to it, but like the people they originally find are real people. But then they're like, all right, we're gonna make this more interesting.
Yeah,
by adding
there's a production value, right?
Yeah.
That's added to it. But with like a show like that, like police shows,
yeah.
it's more like, oh wait, this is somebody's like real life.
Yeah.
And they didn't really sign up to be on television tonight. They just happened to be speeding through town with a bunch of marijuana under their seat.
Yeah.
So they
I
their bad life choices are now on television for millions of people to witness.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Like I have trouble reconciling that sometimes. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch something else now because I'm just like, So sometimes I just don't watch it anymore. Like I still find pleasure in the like Ranger show. They have these, but with like game wardens.
Oh
and those are usually better because it's like, oh, I'm getting this stuck deer out of a fence, or like, oh, I just wrote this guy a ticket for fishing without a license, and I just told him not to do it again. It's not really as extreme, right?
But
enjoyable
still.
So like the continuum for me kind of hits like that's kind of the end point. And sometimes when I watch this other one, I'm like, when I'm watching some dude just get like running from the police and then thrown on his face, like, yeah, that's bad.
So I know shows like that, let's say like originally started for like value of like entertainment, but I remember I was watching kind of I guess you call it a documentary, but it listed like shows like Cops or How to Catch a Predator.
Cops and a lot of the first one, right?
That was the one where it's like, hey, we need a show to like for entertainment. Let's follow cops around. And then I remember like shows afterwards, like police coming up to these shows and saying like, hey, can you do a show like kind of along the same principles that helps like if people watch it, like hopefully they won't do it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, so Cops was really originally designed to not. It was number one designed to be entertainment, but number two designed to help the PR of the police department.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah,
because that show started in the early '90s when that was not a good thing, right? After a lot of especially in California, right after Rodney King and the LA riots and stuff.
Yeah,
police departments across the country got a bad name. No matter what, blanket statement, bad. So Cops' kind of other like side intention was to highlight the good things that the officers do, right? Like, hey, here's the good police officers. Here they are on TV, right? But you're still so there's this dichotomy that's happening where you're showcasing the goodness of the police officers juxtaposed against the badness of the criminal, right? And it's still presented to you as entertainment, and that's the weird part, where it's not like educational and it's not like anything like that. It's entertainment, so it's a very it's got this weird like I don't know, like Roman spin on it, where you're like, oh yes, watch them fight, right? Like, and it's just kind of like after a while of watching it, I'm just kind of like I find myself going, oh. I'm not as comfortable with this as I thought I was 5 minutes ago.
You get taken out of that of what is a show versus when you start to realize that oh yeah, this is reality. This is somebody's life that I'm watching.
Yeah, right.
That sits heavy. There was an article I was reading, and it was about oh gosh, I don't remember what it was, but they were describing this lineman had been electrocuted and died, and they were describing about like his life, and they were describing the morning routine that his wife would do. He'd been a lineman for like 20 years, and he always took 3 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every day, and she would take a bite out of each one of them before he left. And I'm reading this, and I kind of got that same feeling of like, I don't think I need to be reading any more about
like
this.
How necessary is that, right?
Like that.
Yeah.
And I think a part of that, it's like, it's good to have that because that's those humanizing aspects are really important because we don't have a lot of those today. I think of being able to relate to other people, of of what they go through on their daily basis. I think I would say that a lot of that is buffered because of technology, distance, and social discord. Kind of like what we talked about at the beginning. With
I was right because I don't rewind videotapes for anybody anymore. Right? I know I don't understand their suffering. Right? It makes me less empathetic because I remember when I was a child and you get the video from the store and it's not rewound. You're like, ugh.
From the Smiths family.
Like, why? Yeah, exactly. From Smith's video, clearly. But like, you're angry, right? Not angry, but like you're upset to be inconvenienced in such a way because somebody was inconsiderate to you. Because there's a sign that clearly says do that, and you're like, well, that's annoying. Now I have to wait, and because we know that was not a fast process to rewind a video. Yeah. I gotta wait 5 extra minutes to watch it. Now, in the grand scheme of things, is that a big deal? Absolutely not. But you're aware of how other people's actions are affecting you.
Yes. Yeah.
Or lack of action in this case. Right? So it made you cognizant of other people's actions in society. And now, where I don't have that, it's just one less thing that's not being thought of in the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, or when things do happen, they're just less. They seem less real or less important. When if something's, if you forget to mention something in an email, well, it's digital. That doesn't have a physicality to it. It's not that big of a deal. Or text messaging is seen as ephemeral and not really lasting, so it's not that big of a deal. But when something is like
not rewound videotape is a concrete evidence of humanity failing you.
Yes.
Right in your hand.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, it is.
So that's what's weird about my job. My job is that I have to go and investigate people, with allegations of child safety. Like that's what I do. I then interview people, write a report, and then I send it to the district attorney. So it's my job to learn everything I can about these people and be involved in their life. And that is, honestly, it's a weird feeling to get to know somebody that and not like in a conventional way of like, oh, this is my friend, I know about their life.
Exactly.
This is a complete stranger that I am trying to figure out what's going on. And that's one thing I tell people. I'm like, hey, how can I help if I don't know who or what I'm helping? And then people usually have a tendency to open up a little bit more after they've either cussed me out for, 20 minutes or whatever. And I'm like, hey, I'm trying to figure out what is going on and how I can help. But then you get involved in people's lives like that, and you start to learn, and either you do you read police reports about the family or, past relationships about the family. And so then you write everything out of a report and then you send it to someone else so they can get involved. And I would say you have to be kind of desensitized to really extreme cases. And you have to think
about it just as data collection, right?
Yeah. And
otherwise it's
it's a lot.
You can't have a biased opinion about anything.
No.
And when you go and talk to
just the facts, ma'am.
if you go and talk to law enforcement or firefighters especially, those guys have the weirdest sense of humor is because they have to, because they're around so many weird things that they get involved in people's personal lives. And a lot of people that I deal with either are not on the very good end of the spectrum, either with the law or, not really good, financial situations. And so I deal with a lot of those guys who are families that have past histories of drugs. And so you read all these things and you're like, this is someone's life that I am reading about or talking to or being involved with. And so it is just a weird feeling to people today. You have to be desensitized to that, or but there's a time where you're sitting there thinking should I do I need to stop? Am I like, what do I need to do in this? And then the more you get involved, the more you get connected with the family, and it just becomes weird. So like, it's kind of the same thing with watching those like cop shows, like, but like I'm there having to deal with those people,
like
and
firsthand,
and being involved in being in those people's lives. So it's again, to quote the famous philosopher, it is pretty heavy. I think it was Aristotle. I can't remember.
Maybe.
But,
you know.
But yeah, like you watch those shows, and it's like, yeah, they do have some sort of, educational or promotional thing about the police, but when you're actually, there seeing it firsthand, it's just like, man, this is someone's life I'm getting involved with. How messed up is this?
Yeah, and it's only for like, especially on television, it's for like 3 minutes, and you are weirdly granted a window into possibly the worst 3 to 10 minutes of that person's life thus far.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's really weird that is the part of people's lives that we choose to focus on.
TV camera.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the weird bit. That's, like, well, why as a culture am I obsessed with watching all the bad things?
Bad stuff. Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah,
why am I not obsessed? Why do I not watching a show about somebody getting a new dog? Right?
Yeah.
Why am I not watching a television show about the trials and tribulations of new couches? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Freaking right.
That's what
it only have like one viewer, but
fine. But it's like it's the cultural perspective of like, oh, for some reason I'm drawn to this negative thing.
Yeah, there's
I don't know why.
I was actually on Twitter. Well, I'm not on Twitter right now, but I was on Twitter yesterday or the other day,
where you can find negative things.
And so I follow a lot of sports people, so it doesn't really count. But there's one video that someone posted, and it was like a fight at a club, and just seeing like the retweets and the likes, and then like right above that is the animal rescue website, the Dodo people.
Yeah.
That like they show the people like rescuing puppies, and just like the amount is so, like the spread on it is so vastly different. Like there's like thousands of more likes for like the violent people fighting video compared to like the 200 people who like the video on the dogs, and they're posted at the exact same time. And yeah, people are just kind of obsessed with like this aggressive fight culture. But I'm like, I want to see the people rescuing the kitties. Like, look at it.
I know which one of those my wife would have liked.
Yeah, see? And then I even brought that same concept up to one of my college professors it was a sociology class, and the people were like,
"Time to do it."
Right, and they're like, "Oh no, people don't do that." I'm like, "You ever heard of the channel World Star?" Yeah, bet me on this.
True.
Yeah, and so and then people got on the thing, and they're like, "This is how many people follow this kind of stuff," and I'm like, "Exactly."
Bad.
Yeah. Like, I want to watch the person who traveled 3,000 miles to get a freaking Newfoundland puppy, and they won't give it to me. I mean, it's fine.
I do think part of that is a desire to see people. I mean, there's a desire to see people like that are worse off than you, so that you know that your life isn't so bad.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is that part of it? Like, that's what I was just sitting here thinking. Like, is it like a almost? I'm trying to think of the correct word, but like, yeah, like, oh, look how much better off I currently am now.
Yeah.
So even if I'm like in a bad way, I can look at my television and find someone worse than me.
I am not being filmed running half naked down the highway, being chased by cops. Like, that's not my life. So
instead of being like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a good point, because I was, like, oh, gives you perspective, right? But you got to measure it correctly, right? You can't wildly outdo your like perspective. Like, some things don't match, right? Like, you can't be like, oh man, this traffic sucks. You know what sucked worse? Leningrad. Right? That's not really a fair comparison. Well, like, at some point you gotta gotta rein it in a little bit. And so if you're like, oh man, I had a bad day, my drive home from work was terrible. At least I wasn't tackled by police officers. Like, well, that's a weird thing to think about when you put it in perspective that way. Like so we have to figure out how to make this more reasonable. Like,
well, yeah, I know. I was, just trying to think of why you would be attracted to the negativity,
but it's not. I think part of it is not as it's not stemming from the individual, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what is presented to you as culturally acceptable, right? In the culture of the United States.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where it comes from. It's not an individual person thing, because individual tastes are shaped by the culture that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So whatever is trickling down from you, whatever is being presented to you from somewhere is what you get. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so it's because that's what they assume you want. So I don't know. Like, it's really weird just think about that. Like, clearly that's not what everybody wants, because the Hallmark Channel exists. Right. So that's
exactly,
there is a market for this. But
yeah. Hallmark, again, we need to direct you to our previous episodes where we discussed how you can improve your catalog. But
still working on those other states, by the way.
Good.
Coming slow now. Drag it out a little bit.
Tease them along. Oh.